Alright, much Abrew about nothing time. Playing one of our instant deck tech decks from this past week. One that got a lot of conversation going. Nahiri's End in Modern. So this is Living End that's also splashing for Nahiri and Emrakul. And this deck was controversial, I think is the way of putting it. Some people really liked it. Other people really hated it. And said this is a horrible deck and putting Nahiri in Living End is ridiculous. So we're going to find out. So we'll lead on Copperline Gorge, and I've never played Living End before, but I've seen it played against me quite a bit, so we're going to do a lot of cycling. Caves of Koilos. Well, let's cycle a Deadshot Minotaur. Draw a card. Beast Within. Let's cycle Street Wraith. Draw a card. Siege Rhino, one of the other unique cards in this build. Yeah, let's cycle Minotaur. Trying to figure out if we can play this land tapped or if we need to play it untapped. That's why I want to cycle now instead of waiting. We're not going to do anything else with our mana, but if we draw another Minotaur or something. Alright, Siege Rhino. So Sacred Foundry tapped, pass the turn. Yeah, open up our graveyard here. So we're up to 3 creatures, which is pretty solid. Leonin Arbiter. Ooh, we drew a Living End. That's not great. Question is, can we keep waiting? The problem with waiting is if our opponent gets a Ghost Quarter, we could get set pretty... Well, if they Ghost Quarter, we can Beast Within. Alright, let's just play a Swamp. Let's just play Swamp, play Fulminator Mage. Destroy the Caves of Koilos, pass the turn. Putting our opponent down a land likely means that they wouldn't Ghost Quarter us anyway, because they're going to need their mana. And then next turn we can Living End, and we get back the Fulminator Mage. Oh lord. Alright. Well, this should do it. We could wait even another turn. Yeah, let's just go now. So, Demonic Dread, target the Arbiter, Cascade into a Living End, cast Living End, get rid of the Arbiter, get back all of our stuff, Blood Crypt, tapped, and that should do it. We have a pretty fast clock, we have multiple Siege Rhinos in hand. Our opponent did draw a land that we can't Fulminator. So let's attack with the crew. Alright, they path a Minotaur. We get a Mountain. Doesn't especially matter here. And then let's just Siege Rhino. So no Nahiri, but we're winning the typical Living End way. Siege Rhino was pretty sweet there. Oh, this is Eldrazi. Interesting. This is like Eldrazi in taxes. Another path. Another land. We still have lethal on board, though. Is this Wasteland Strangler? I guess Wasteland Strangler keeps our opponent alive for a turn. Yep, there's Strangler. Goes after, I would assume, Fulminator. But then we... Oh, not Fulminator. Alright, well then we have lethal. So we just swing with everything, hit for 5, and then Siege Rhino for the last 3? No, pretty well. It blocks Fulminator. Sure. And then Siege Rhino number 2. Siege Rhino and Living End seems so awkward, but it worked there. Eldrazi and taxes. That probably means our opponent's going to be able to disrupt our graveyard, which means things like Siege Rhino and Nahiri are going to be really important. I don't know if we want to bring anything in, though. Chewer, Shriekmaw. Shriekmaw might be... Another Shriekmaw might be good, actually. Shriekmaw is a good way to kill various Eldrazi. And go down a random cycler, I guess. Can you go down cyclers in this deck? I guess we can just go down a Spirit Guide. Run it like that. Okay. Well, we have a quick living end if they don't have graveyard hate. We'll keep. Or also discard. Caves and Ether Vial. Alright. Let's Bloodstained Mire, crack it. Get a red-black. Get a Blood Crypt. Untapped. And pass the turn. We also would need to draw the living end. Thalia. Alright, let's cycle our Carabid. Fulminator. Wooded Foothills. Crack Wooded Foothills. Get a mountain? No, we probably want a basic, actually. Let's get another... Let's get Overgrown Tomb. Untapped. And then... just Shriekmaw with Evoke. Kill the Thalia. So now we just gotta find a Cascade spell. And we'll be in pretty good shape. Swamp for our opponent. And... casts a Displacer. Going to put into play Tidehollow Sculler. Well, let's cycle Street Wraith. Oh, God. 2 living ends in hand is not where we want to be. So that means we only got 1 living end left in our deck? Suspending living end doesn't seem like a reasonable plan. So many turns. We'll be dead before then. Takes our Fulminator. Well, let's land and just cast a Simian Spirit Guide. Pass the turn. Ticks up Ether Vial. Godless Shrine. Gonna displace, get in some damage. Well, come on, Living End. Well, not Living End. Cascade Spell. Not Living End. Cascade Spell? Temple Garden. Alright, Temple Garden tapped. If they have something they can put in with Vial, we're just dead here. Alright, no Vial. So we're gonna get one more draw at it. If we hit a Cascade Spell, we just win. Well, we should just win. Up to 4 with Ether Vial. Flicker Wisp. Gonna hit our Spirit Guide. Alright. We take 5, down to 2. We need it this turn. Come on, Cascade Spell. Get back our Spirit Guide, not relevant. Well, let's fight. Violent Outburst. So let's... Plains. Forest Cycle, Pale Recluse. Get a Stomping Ground. We got lucky. We got lucky in a nick of time. Last living end. Shriekmaw kills Thalia. And pass the turn. Oh, is this enough? Opponent puts in Thought-Knot Seer. Alright. Thought-Knot doesn't really beat us. They can take our Fulminator. The scariest thing would be like removal spell plus fire. That would be bad. Shambling Vent for our opponent. Ooh, Displacer. Alright. What do we draw? Ooh, Shriekmaw? Shriekmaw is really solid. So let's just cast a Shriekmaw. Cast Shriekmaw. Do we we probably just have to hit Displacer. Stomping Ground tapped. Attack for 10. Swamp Walk, Fear, and we gotta attack with Carabid. So now, the way we would lose here would be a removal spell. So like path one of our untapped creatures, attack with Shambling Vent. Otherwise, we should be able to win next turn. Goes to attacks. Oh, alright. I think we got it. Unfortunately, we have to attack with Carabid, which lets our opponent block with Shambling Vent. Let's attack like that and leave a couple back. Because we're not going to win here thanks to Shambling Vent. Shambling Vent gets to block Carabid. Or Shriekmaw. Opponent goes to 5. We play a Swamp. Do we want to suspend a Living End? Probably not. Pass the turn. We're pretty much hoping to win with what we got on board. Or draw like a Nahiri. Nahiri would be pretty solid to discard these Living Ends. The other cool thing about Emrakul in this deck, and Nahiri, is it shuffles back in Living Ends. We can discard the Emrakul, shuffle back in Living Ends, so then we can Living End more. And we got the GGs! Well, so far, so good for Nahiri End.